Now, you're here because you probably think that no contact is a strategy. You think that perhaps it's a lever you can pull to make them regret leaving. You're currently sitting there watching this video, hoping that I'm going to give you the secret sequence of days, is it 30, is it 45, that will magically reprogram your ex's mind and bring them crawling back to your doorstep. You think no contact is about making them miss you, making them suffer. Think again. What if I told you that the true power of no contact has absolutely nothing to do with your ex and everything to do with the biochemical civil war currently taking place inside your own skull? This isn't a game of manipulation. It is a profound physiological shift that determines whether you become a king or a slave in your own life. Right now, you're in a state of primal panic, and I know exactly what it looks like. And feel free to argue with me if you think I'm wrong. For the man watching this, you're oscillating between rage and pathetic bargaining. You are checking her WhatsApp status to see when she was last online. You're driving past her gym or work, telling yourself it's just on the way. You're drafting long, logical text messages explaining why the breakup is statistically a mistake, hoping that if you can just argue your point well enough, she will see reason. And you feel a hollow ache in your chest that feels like physical emasculation. And for the ladies watching this, you're spiralling into analysis paralysis. You are stalking his Instagram following list to see if he's added any new girls. You're rereading text messages from 6 months ago, looking for the exact moment his tone changed. And you're debating whether to post a thirst trap to see if he views the story, because even a breadcrumb of attention feels like nourishment. You feel an emptiness in your gut that feels like a threat to your very survival. Stop it, both of you. You are labelling this behaviour as love. You are telling yourself, I'm fighting for this relationship because I love them so much. I'm here to tell you the truth that your friends are just too polite to say. You are wrong. This is not love. This is addiction. This is withdrawal. And right now, you are behaving exactly like a heroin addict searching for a vein. Your behaviour is not noble. It is biological. And if you use no contact as a tactic, a game, to get a reaction, you will fail. And you will fail because your ex, whether or he or she is conscious of it or not, can smell your desperation. They can smell the covert contract you are trying to sign with them. Look, I can sit here and play the puppet master. I could give you the toxic tricks to manipulate their jealousy and hack their psychology. But I won't. If you want a quick fix, click away now, because you aren't ready for this work. But if you are still here, listen closely. This protocol is about you. If you follow the steps I'm going to give you, one of two things will happen. One, you will heal so completely that you realise you don't even want them back. Or two, you might actually become the high value version of yourself that they, or someone even better, would be lucky to meet. So in this video, we're going to strip away the Disney lies you've been fed about romance. We're going to look at the cold, hard neuroscience of why you feel like you are dying. We're going to look at the evolutionary imperatives that drive men to obsess over sexual access and women to obsess over resource security. And then I'm going to give you the protocol. Not a trick. A physiological and psychological reset button that will kill the addiction, restore your dignity, and make you indifferent to the outcome. Because the ultimate freedom isn't getting them back. The ultimate freedom is realizing you don't need them. So let's begin. To understand why you cannot stop thinking about them, we have to look at the hardware. We need to take a look at your brain. When you are in a relationship, your brain is flooded with a cocktail of neurochemicals. So there's dopamine for motivation, oxytocin for bonding, serotonin for mood stabilization. Your partner is not just a person, they are a biological regulator. They are the source of your chemical fix. When that person leaves, they don't just take their clothes and toothbrush, they take your supply. Functional MRI studies have shown that the brain of a heartbroken person looks identical to the brain of a cocaine addict going through withdrawal. Specifically, we see hyperactivity in the ventral tegmental area, the VTA. This is the part of your brain that handles reward, motivation, and focus. When you were together, the VTA was happy. It got its reward. Now, the reward is gone. But the VTA doesn't shut down. It works harder. It screams. And this is called frustration attraction. When you're dumped, you actually love them more for a short period. Your brain is ramping up the dopamine production to motivate you to go hunt for the lost object. Think of the Skinner box. Now, I've mentioned this in previous videos, but for those of you that missed those ones, in behavioural psychology, B.F. Skinner found that if you give a rat a pellet of food every time it presses a lever, it will only press the lever when it's hungry. But if you give the rat a pellet only sometimes, unpredictably, the rat will press the lever until it dies of exhaustion. This is intermittent reinforcement. Your ex is the lever. The hope that they might text back is the pellet. If you stay in contact, if you keep checking their social media, you're pressing the lever. You are reinforcing the addiction pathways in your brain. You are keeping the wound open. Now, let's look at how the biology filters through the lens of gender. Because while the chemical withdrawal is universal, the evolutionary drivers are distinct. Evolution does not care about your happiness. It cares about your genetic legacy. The male imperative. For the man, the evolutionary anxiety is rooted in paternity uncertainty and sexual access. For millions of years, if a man lost his mate, he lost his reproductive future. He lost the guarantee that his lineage would continue. So when a man gets dumped, his dopamine spikes around the challenge of reconquest. This is why men often engage in mate guarding behaviours even after the breakup. The male behaviour, so he orbits, he doesn't block her, he keeps tabs on her. He gets furious if he thinks she's with another man. This isn't just jealousy, it is an ancient drive to prevent another man's sperm from displacing his own. He is wired to view her as a territory that he's lost control over. Now the female imperative, for the woman, the evolutionary anxiety is rooted in resource security and protection. For millions of years, if a woman lost her mate, she and her offspring were vulnerable to starvation and violence. Her investment is higher: pregnancy, nursing, child rearing. So when a woman gets dumped, her anxiety spikes around the loss of safety and investment. The female behaviour, she ruminates. She analyses the emotional data. She tries to fix the emotional bond. She's not necessarily guarding him from other women intentionally. She's trying to re-establish the security pact. She feels the breakup as a direct threat to her survival and status. But here is the brutal reality. Nature has rigged the game against you. Your brain is lying to you. It is telling you that if you send one more text, if you post one more picture, you will survive. But we're not on the savannah anymore. You're not going to die if you don't text your ex-girlfriend. You're not going to starve if your ex-boyfriend blocks you. However, your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, are skyrocketing. Cortisol is catabolic. It breaks you down. It eats your muscles. It clouds your thinking. It kills your libido. By maintaining contact, you're keeping your body in a state of chronic inflammation. You are literally poisoning yourself to chase a ghost. So no contact is not a trick. It is a physiological detox. It is the only way to allow the VTA to calm down. It is the only way to lower your cortisol. You must starve the neural pathways of the addiction. If you feed the beast, even with a happy birthday text, it grows stronger. You must choose. Do you want to be a slave to your reptilian brain, or do you want to use your prefrontal cortex, the seat of logic and will, to override the program? Now that we understand the biology, we need to confront the psychology. And this is the part where you're going to get angry at me, which is good because anger is better than despair. I want you to look at your behaviour, the texting, the stalking, the pleading. You tell yourself, I'm fighting for us. I'm a good person. I just want closure. I'm telling you, you're being selfish. In fact, you're being narcissistic. Now note I said narcissistic, not you're being a narcissist. Contrary to popular belief nowadays, there's a difference. But more on that another time. Ultimately, you are engaging in self-abandonment. We need to talk about the shadow driving your inability to let go. We need to talk about the transactional nature of your so-called love. Let's look at the two most common archetypes I see in my coaching practice. The nice guy and the fixer. So for the guys, we've got the nice guy syndrome and covert contracts. Gents, many of you believed you were the perfect boyfriend. You paid for dinner. You listened to her problems. You tolerated her annoying friend. You didn't cheat. You compromised. And now she's gone and you're furious. You feel robbed. And why? Because you were operating under a covert contract. A covert contract is a secret agreement you made in your head that she never signed. It's something like this. If I'm a good boy, if I hide my needs, if I do everything she wants, then she's obligated to love me and never leave. That's not love. That is manipulation. You were buying her affection with your compliance. You were trading your balls for a false sense of security. When she leaves, you break no contact because you want to cash in the chips. You want to present her with the receipt. Look at what I did for you. How can you do this to me? You aren't missing her. You're missing the return on your investment. You are angry that your transaction failed. You used her to validate your worth as a good man, and without her, you have to face the fact that you don't know who you are without a woman to please. Now for the women, the saviour complex and the fantasy of potential. Ladies, many of you are not mourning the man he was. You're actually mourning the man you thought you could build. You dated a project. You dated a man with potential. Maybe he was emotionally unavailable. Maybe he had no ambition. Maybe he was damaged. And you thought, if I can fix him, if I love him enough, he will change. I will be the one woman who saves him. This is the saviour complex. And it is the female version of the covert contract. Your contract was, if I heal him, he will never leave me. If I make myself indispensable to his life, I will be safe. When you break no contract to check on him or to help him through this hard time, you're not being an angel. You are feeding your own ego. You are trying to prove that you are still the goddess of his life. You're addicted to the validation that comes from being needed. You don't love him. You love the power of being his caretaker. And by chasing him now, you are engaging in self-abandonment. You are looking at a burning building and running back inside because you are too afraid of the cold air outside. Both of these dynamics, the nice guy and the fixer, are rooted in an external locus of control. You believe your emotional regulation depends on them. I can't be calm until he texts back. I can't feel like a man until she validates me. You are using another human being as a pacifier. That is not romance. When you break no contact, you are handing your dignity to someone who has already told you they don't want it. Every time you reach out, you are subcommunicating, I have no other options and I have no self-respect. My life is empty without you. Is that attractive? Evolutionary speaking, is that high value? No, it's repulsive. For a woman, a man who begs is a man who can't protect her. If he falls apart because of a breakup, how will he handle a war? How will he handle a crisis? His weakness triggers her biological disgust mechanism, the ick. For a man, a woman who stalks and pleads signals that she has no other suitors. It signals low value in the mating market. It kills the chase. It kills the mystery. You must first confront this shadow. You must admit that your desire to reach out is not about them. It is about your inability to sit with your own pain. It's about your ego screaming because it lost control. The hard truth is this. They are not yours anymore. They never were. You only ever own yourself. And right now, you're doing a terrible job of owning yourself. So how do we fix it? How do we take this mess of neurochemical addiction and ego injury and turn it into iron? We need a protocol. We're going to move away from theory to action. You're going to build a cage for your inner addict until your rational brain comes back online. And this protocol has 3 pillars: cognitive reframing, behavioural rules, and somatic regulation. You cannot just think your way out of this, you must act your way out of it. Pillar 1, behavioural rules, the starvation method. The rule is simple, dead silence. But you need to understand the nuances for your gender. Okay, so for the men, you must kill the orbiter. Unfollow her, mute her stories. Do not view her profile. Why? Men are visual creatures. Every time you see her face, you spike dopamine and trigger the mate guarding circuit. You reset your recovery clock to 0. You think staying friends keeps the door open. No, just puts you in the friend zone permanently. It allows her to use your attention to validate herself while she's off sleeping with other men. You do not exist to her. You vanish. This isn't about being mysterious or playing games. This is about being sane. If you're always there, hovering, you're signalling that your time has no value and that you accept the position of a fan. You're not a fan. You're a man with a life to build. So walk away. And for the women, you've got to kill the investigator. Block him if you have to. Delete the thread. Do not ask mutual friends about him. Why? Women are verbal and analytical. You process by gathering information. Every piece of information you get, he was seen at a bar, he liked this girl's photo, is fuel for your anxiety. It creates a narrative in your head that isn't real. You do not chase. Biological polarity dictates that the one with the higher investment, pregnancy and nursing, is the selector, not the beggar. When you chase a man who walked away, you are negotiating for affection. That is beneath you. If he wanted to talk to you, he would. His silence is a loud, clear answer. Respect yourself enough to listen to it. Pillar 2, cognitive reframing, the ick list, and negative visualization. Your brain is currently engaging in rosy retrospection. You're remembering the sunsets and the sex. You are forgetting the disrespect and the boredom. We need to force a cognitive recalibration. So I've got a few exercises for you. Ones which I've also used in other videos, but they're useful. So the first is the IC list. Aversive conditioning or aversion therapy. Grab a pen and paper. I want you to write down every single thing about your ex that was disgusting, annoying or incompatible. So guys, write down how she nagged you, how she was messy, how she flirted with the waiter, how her breath smelled in the morning. And ladies, write down how he played video games for 12 hours, how he couldn't hold a job, how he gaslit you, how he chewed with his mouth open. Every time, and I mean every single time, you feel a wave of nostalgia, you read the list. You force your brain to associate their face not with the dopamine hit of love, but with the disgust response of the ick. You are literally rewiring your neural associations. Then exercise 2 is stoic negative visualization. You are suffering because you have hope. Hope is the enemy right now. You are hoping they will come back. I want you to kill the hope so you can be free. So close your eyes and visualize the worst case scenario. So guys, visualize her with another man, visualize her marrying him, her happy, laughing, and never thinking about you again. And ladies, same, visualize him moving on. Visualize him telling his friends he's relieved it's over. Visualize yourself running into him in 5 years and he barely even remembers your face. Sit with that pain, let it burn you. The Stoics practice this to build armor. Once you accept the worst case scenario as a reality, it loses its power over you. If you can survive the visualization, you can survive the reality. When you stop fearing the outcome, you regain your power. Exercise T, the covert contract audit. We talked about the contracts that you signed in secret, you know, the nice guy deal and the saviour complex. Now you need to burn them. So every evening, I want you to write down the truth. Ask yourself the question, what did I give in this relationship, expecting something in return that I never asked for? So for the guys, admit where you use your niceness as a currency to buy sex or loyalty. Right, I listened to her problems not because I cared, but because I wanted her to validate me. And for the ladies, admit where you used your helping as a way to create dependency. So I tried to fix his life not because he asked, but so he would never leave me. This breaks the victim mentality. It forces you to see your own manipulation. Once you see it, you can stop it. Pillar 3, somatic regulation, hacking the nervous system. You can't think your way out of a cortisol spike. You have to use your body to signal safety to your brain. This is bottom-up processing. Protocol A, the physiological Sigh, Huberman protocol. When the urge to text hits you, it is a physiological wave of anxiety. Do not grab the phone. I want you to do this instead. So the technique here is I want you to inhale deeply through your nose, then at the top, take a second sharp inhale to fully inflate the lungs, and then slowly exhale through your mouth for a long duration. So we're saying inhale. This double inhale pops open the alveoli in your lungs, and the long exhale triggers the vagus nerve to slow your heart rate. It is a biological kill switch for anxiety. Do this 10 times, and the urge to text will pass. Protocol B, cold water immersion, the dopamine reset. You are in a low dopamine state. You feel lethargic and depressed. You need a natural spike that doesn't come from your ex. So the technique is every morning a cold shower, as cold as it goes, 2 to 3 minutes. This triggers a massive release of norepinephrine and dopamine, actually up to 250% above baseline, and it lasts for hours. It forces you out of your head and into your body. You can't reminisce about your ex when you're gasping for air in freezing water. It builds a callus on the mind. It teaches you that you can endure pain and come out stronger. Protocol C, the shake, the somatic release. So animals in the wild shake off adrenaline after a predator chases them. Humans, we freeze. We store the trauma in our hips and shoulders. So, I want you to put on some heavy music, stand up and literally shake your body. Bounce on your heels, flare your arms around, let your jaw hang loose, look like an idiot. This discharges the trapped sympathetic nervous system energy. If you're a woman feeling the freeze response of depression, this wakes you up. And if you're a man feeling the fight response of rage, this releases it. Here is your daily routine for the next 30 days. In the morning, cold shower, no checking your phone in bed. Trigger moments, physiological sigh, and then read through your ick list. And in the evening, the somatic shake and journaling. Audit your covert contracts. You do this every day. You do not skip. You are in rehab. Treat it like one. No contact is wrong. It's misleading. It shouldn't be called no contact. It should be called self-contact. For the duration of your relationship, you abandon yourself. You outsource your happiness, your stability, and your identity to another person. You made them your God. And now that your God has forsaken you, you're lost. The pain you are feeling, it is necessary. It is the fire burning away the dead wood of your dependency. If you do this right, if you truly follow the protocol, you won't just get over your ex. You'll outgrow them. You will look back at the person you are today, this anxious, desperate version of yourself, and you will not recognize them. Guys, you will become a man who does not need a woman to define his masculinity. You will become a man of abundance who invites a woman into his life but does not collapse if she leaves. And for the ladies, you will become a woman who does not need to fix a broken man to feel worthy. You will become a woman of boundaries who chooses a partner from a place of want, not a place of need. Your ex gave you a gift. By leaving you, they force you to find yourself. Don't waste this suffering. Do not waste this pain on trying to get back to the past. Use it to build a future where you are the sovereign authority of your own life. The door is closed. Lock it and turn around. If you're ready to commit to this protocol, I want you to go to the comments right now. I don't want you to write a story. I don't want you to ask a question. I want you to write one phrase, a micro commitment to your future self. Comment below, I choose me. Write it, own it, and then go put your phone down and take a cold shower.